Okay, Shawn Thomas here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. Let's get this thing started with the first question. And the first question comes in from Sam. And Sam says, I registered an LLC by the name of Conleth International LLC. A brand name I chose for my product is YouMagnificent. Do I need to set that up as a DBA? The background is I also opened a bank account for Conleth, which I can make purchases for the brand YouMagnificent, and I have the domain for YouMagnificent. Sam, I don't understand your question. I don't understand this. So let me take a crack at this. You created the LLC, but the name of the business that you want to be in the public eye is YouMagnificent. And the website is going to be youmagnificent.com. If that's the case, then you do not need to set up a DBA. That's just part of your business. Your legal entity will probably be the legal entity name for the bank account and all of the legal paperwork that you'll do for your business. But the DBA, as far as what's out there in the world that everybody sees, like I'll give you an example. Accelerators Organization is a DBA right now. The LLC is Ask a Millionaire, but I don't have to file any DBA information. So I hope that answers your question. Your LLC can be something, and your public-facing business can be a different name. And you don't. And just talk with your. I would talk with your accountant or your attorney that you use to set up this stuff to see if there's any special paperwork that you have to do in order to do this in your state. Okay. Okay. Get with your attorney and your accountant on that. I'll say we also have a new firm that we're going to be introducing to AO very soon that can answer legal questions and accounting questions like this. So keep up to date with Shirley on that, and she'll help you out. Okay. Hope that helps. The next question comes from Martina. And Martina says, how can I increase the visibility of my company? The core services of my company. Oh, you know what? I'm going to skip this question because Martina, you and I already spoke on the phone. So I believe that I've already answered these questions and you've got what you need. So sorry about that. You are set. You're good to go. I think you did maybe submit one question after we talked, and if I see that here later on in the questions, I'll answer that one. But I believe that I got you all the information that you needed for those questions. Okay, the next question comes from Heather Brockman, and Heather says, when acquiring a company with existing employees, what's the best way to introduce them to the existing team and implement our current systems? The background is I've reached out to a local groomer who is selling her company. I'm looking to buy her 3 vans, and it will come with her 2 groomers and a bather. I want to make the transition as smooth as possible, but she had no boundaries with them. And I want to make sure that I'm able to keep them on board, but let them know how we run things and how it won't be the same. I went through a couple mergers and acquisitions like this, got a lot of experience with this, Heather. It would almost be like bringing on new employees with your company. However, there does need to be what's called a quote-unquote transition plan of how you're going to introduce the new employees to the existing employees. I am not a transition expert, but I can tell you this is very, very important. Thinking out loud here, if it were me, before I purchased the company or the assets of that other company where I got the groomers, I would have a conversation with the groomers and the bather to see if they would stay on board, and I would get the current owner of that company to help with that process to make sure that you can keep them, because that would be really important, because that's an asset that you're purchasing, and I'm sure that that's kind of included in the purchase price, that you're getting some existing personnel and so forth, because that's going to help with your cash flow. I would, during those meetings, introduce those new employees to your company culture. Talk to them about the way that you run the company, how amazing it is. Keep it positive, upbeat. Don't in any way, shape, or form bash the previous company or make it look bad or anything like that. Don't say, well, the way we do things around here, just say, I want to introduce you to our company culture. We really believe in working with our bathers and with our groomers and creating the greatest compensation plan and making the processes easy, and stress out all of the positive points that you have in your company and let them see the differences between the old and the new. After you purchase the company, you'll bring them on as new employees, and I would treat them as brand new employees, as though they were just coming in. And they're going to get introduced naturally to your current groomers and your current processes and systems and bathers and so forth. And so yeah, I think but it's really important. And there's also some dialogue that has to be had with the current employees that you have at your company, because in your core values, I'm sure it would stress that they would get along with all employees, any new ones that come on and so forth. And you'd really want to make sure that you set systems in place of that. You don't have this, the new people saying, well, we used to do it this way, and then your existing people saying, well, we do it this way. Make sure that there is a good process in place for the new team members to voice their opinion. Make sure that the existing employees don't get into those types of conversations. And I apologize. This is my mom calling. My dad is in the hospital, so I'm going to have to take this. Hold on one second. Sorry. Hey, Mom. Okay, great. Hey, can I call you back later tonight? I'm actually on a live stream in my group right now, but I wanted to make sure and take the call. Okay, love you. All right, bye. Okay, he's okay. Good. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I hope that helps, Heather, with your question. If there's anything else you want to talk to about that, let me know. Of course, we're going to talk about that at the leadership retreat next weekend when you're here in Nashville. And then also, I know your coach, Dan, is really good at that as well. Okay? All right. The next question comes from Heather Brockman, and Heather says, what are the steps you should take and terms you should put into legal paperwork when acquiring another company? The background is, it looks like I will be acquiring a mobile grooming company that comes with 3 vans, 3 groomers, and a bather. I've never done this, and I'm not sure where to start as far as questions to ask, what details may need from them, etc. So far, the only paperwork they have provided me are the P&L statements and last 2 years' balance sheets, and I'm getting a price for the value of the vans. But since I can't buy a client list, I'm trying to make it fair on how to pay her for the clients she's bringing over. Okay, so one of the most important things is obviously get a great attorney and a great accountant and a great accountant to go through this stuff. You and I have talked about this a little bit individually, but here's the thing. Unless they are audited financial statements, you have no real way of knowing that you can trust the information that they're providing you as far as QuickBook reports or what have you. From my experience, especially with small businesses, it's nice to put some sort of escrow account with the sale if you can, that says, here is what I'm buying. You're projecting that it's this much annual revenue, blah, 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 blah. Well, what happens if you agree that it's just one time's earnings and they're doing $100,000 a year in sales? So you're going to give them $100,000. Just throwing this out. Aside from the, you've got the amount that you're going to have for the assets that you're buying, and then, then you've got all this other stuff. Well, what happens if you buy the company and a bather or I'm sorry, a groomer quits, starts their own company and takes all those clients with them, and now you don't all that value that you paid for it, you don't get it. This is called like an earnout. Money goes into escrow. This is very complicated stuff. Very complicated stuff. And I'm just giving you kind of the high level view of this, but you have to think worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? You're going to buy this company, you're going to get the 3 grooming units, and then all 3 groomers quit and the bather quits. None of the clients come and work with Heather's Mobile Pet Salon. They go find somebody else. Because you can't get your clients to commit that they're going to use Heather's Groomers for X amount of years, right? So in a worst case scenario, that's your risk. In a best case scenario, the groomers stay with you, the bather stays with you, and all the clients stay with you. And somewhere in between is what's really going to happen. And that's where you're going to decide what the real value is that you're going to be willing to pay for that company and the risk you're going to take, okay? You also want to make sure that legally that you own those vehicles. I would want to make sure that there's no existing liabilities to her company from a debt perspective, that there's no liabilities for lines of credit, real estate payments, car, mobile van unit payments, no debt that can be associated and attached to you if you buy that company or its assets or what have you. A good attorney and a good CPA is going to be able to walk you through all of this stuff. Very important, but remember, worst case scenario, best case scenario, something in between is what's going to happen, okay? I hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Martina. And Martina says, how do I motivate myself and my workers to not give up in the beginning of our business? The core services of my business are clarification of the necessary services, advice to customers and relatives in questions of help and care, nursing, advice on health issues, as well as support in the household and social support. There's a language difference here, so I'm just going to ad-lib here. Martina's company, she provides home health care to patients in the home. Doctors and hospitals refer patients to her, and she's got a few nurses and doctors that help provide the services to her clients, her patients. As it relates to motivating your workers and your team in the beginning phases of the business, it's very important that we as leaders can spell out the vision of the company. When we want to get people inspired and motivated to work with us, we need to be able to paint the picture of the dream. What kind of business are we building, and how is it going to benefit each and every employee that works for the company? We need to be able to show that vision that people can buy into, that people can get behind, that people can support, that people can get inspired. That's one of our functions as a leader, is to paint the picture of where this is going and how it can affect you in a positive way. I like to sit back and think about the story, the vision, and how to properly communicate that to my team on an ongoing basis to keep them motivated, okay? That's how we keep them motivated and inspired. We also want to put together a fair and good incentive or compensation plan. We want to provide the company perks that are comparable to our other competitive companies that are out there in the field, so that your employees don't feel like they're not getting what they could and should by working somewhere else. We want to create a strong culture of open communication, recognition, good processes and procedures. Those are all the things that we can do as a leader to motivate and inspire our teams to do better and want to continue to be involved in the company. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Tatiana. And Tatiana says, I have an employee that left to go work for another restaurant. And she just messaged me to let me know it didn't work out and if she could have her job back with us. What should I do? The background is I own a smoothie bowl and juice bar. We've been having issues with employees lately, and many are leaving due to their senior year being over and them wanting to have a fun summer. And a few who graduated college and now pursuing their career. Lately, some high school students are leaving to go get a summer temp job that pays cash, or in this case, the employee left to go work at a restaurant owned by a family friend in order to receive more tips. I had a conversation with this employee letting her know we appreciate her and if there was anything we could do, we would try to accommodate. She said she loved her job but wanted to go get cash tips. Here we are 2 weeks later. We replied to her text to let her know it was nice to hear from her and apologize that things didn't work out. I told her I want to talk next week. How would you handle this? Well, listen, one of the things with employees is, we want to create a culture and a brand that we can create long-term employees, of course, because that lowers our cost of having to replace them, which has replacement costs, onboarding costs, and all of those types of things. And I get that 100%. If it were me, and I've had this scenario come up, I would want to have a strong heart-to-heart conversation with them that, there was an expense to replace her. And we always have turnover, and it's understandable. And we want to gauge how long we think that they would come back for. What's going to keep them from jumping ship and going to work at another company if they're offered another opportunity. Of course, there's no guarantees that an employee is ever going to stay with us for more than a day or more than a week. We just have to use our best judgment in that process. And of course, when someone needs a job, they're going to say everything they can to get the job back. One of the beautiful things is this employee probably knows your business and probably does a good job, which is why you're even considering it. If it were me, I would probably take them back, knowing that in a worst case scenario, in any certain amount of time, she may quit and do the same thing, but at least I have somebody that works for me today, can fill in some hours, already is trained. I don't have that cost associated to it. And, obviously I like that person and they fit the culture. So if it were me, I would just have a good conversation that I would appreciate that if they ever did this again, that they give me a minimum of a 2-week notice in order to help me try to replace them. And that we would love to keep them on board as long as possible. As small business owners, we can only pay as much as our company affords us the opportunity to pay based on our profit margins. And unfortunately, that's just the case with every company. And it's up to you to figure out how you can offer the best compensation, the best overall employee compensation package as it relates to everything: business, insurance, bonuses, time off, recognition, bonuses, all those types of things. So that's what I would do it for me. I'd probably take her back, but I'd have a good conversation with her. Keep us posted. Let us know how it goes. Okay, the next question comes from Martina. And Martina says, how do I get stronger in motivating myself? The background is I'm having a challenge keeping motivated with my new startup business, and I'm looking for ways to keep motivated. Okay, so one of the ways that I keep motivated, Martina, is I always have clear goals and milestones or achievements that I'm looking to achieve in a certain amount of time. And this always keeps me motivated. I write down my goals. I revisit them every single month to make sure that I am seeing the progress that I make. And that keeps me motivated. It keeps me motivated when I'm getting closer and closer to achieving the goal, and it keeps me motivated when I hit the goals and set new goals. By not having those clearly set out goals, sometimes I can feel a little bit lost or feel a little bit less motivated because I don't know what I'm working on. Sometimes I joke around on social media when I do my Instagram live streams, and I'll say, I equate or I think about motivation as when we have to go to the bathroom. There's no other time in life that we are more motivated to do something than when we have to go to the bathroom, right? When we have to go to the bathroom, we're pretty motivated to go to the bathroom, and we're going to find a way to find a bathroom to go to the bathroom. And every single thing we want in life, we have to determine how bad do we want it and how fast do we want to, achieve that goal. And so that's what keeps me motivated, is always knowing what I want in life, in all areas of my life and in business, including business, and always have actions and objectives and activities to get me closer to reaching those goals. So think about the things that you want. Think how long it's going to take for you to achieve some things. I like to think in terms of goals of what can I accomplish, and I use the calendar year. So I like to say, what do I want to accomplish by December 31st? So if it's June 3rd right now, and I haven't done it yet, I would sit down and I would set out goals and say, well, what do I want to have accomplished by December 31st of 2021? And I would set out all of the goals that I have. And then I would break it down by month. What are some things that I can get done this month and next month in order to continue to achieve everything that I want to have done by the end of the year? And that keeps me really motivated. Now, everybody gets motivated different. I get motivated by money. And so I have big monetary goals in my life. I also get motivated by travel. And so I set travel expectations on myself and goals. So you might want to find out what those specific things for you. Is it the number of patients that your company is seeing? Is it the number of nurses that work for you and the doctors that work for you? Is it a monetary number? Some health goals? Whatever it might be, set those goals, because that's what's going to keep us motivated. Okay? I hope that helps out. Keep the questions coming. Okay, the next question comes from Tatiana. And Tatiana says, should I be concerned about taking my staff on the boat for a day if a few of them are underage? The background is we have been trying to come up with fun ways to reward our staff. After different recommendations from a few mentors, we were thinking about a big boat party on the lake. Trying to figure out if we allow them to bring a guest or limit it to just employees. My husband's biggest concern is the underage employees drinking. We do not want to be liable. Is this a bad idea? Should we think of something else, or how do we handle this situation? Okay, here is the way that I handle this type of stuff. And Marsha, I'm going to have to make sure that Marsha answers this question, Tatiana. If you need a faster response, like you're thinking of doing this boat trip next week, let Shirley know so that we can try to get Marsha to maybe get you an answer in email or a video sooner than you making this decision. Because Marsha is our resident human resources mentor, and she would be able to talk to you about this from a human resources perspective, a more legal perspective. For me, I don't like to have mixers or parties when there are underage people if alcohol is involved. I just would not have any alcohol. The last thing that I would want to do is even remotely introduce a liability of somebody underage drinking. And even if nothing happens that day, what if an employee reports you to the alcohol board? They always are going to be able to say that Tatiana and her husband had a party and there was underage drinking. You're just opening up a can of worms that doesn't even need to be opened. We can have fun on the lake and have it alcohol free. Adults can find plenty of ways to have fun without alcohol involved. When it comes to a company event, I don't like mixing. I want it to be everybody over 21. Also, I like to, when I used to have those types of parties, I used to get liability waivers signed by all of the employees, releasing liability of being on the boat. I don't know what type of liability release you would need to have, but I would certainly think about having a liability release signed by each employee. Marsha would be much better from a legality perspective, but let's face it, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we just wing it, and sometimes we just make decisions. Sometimes that can get us in trouble. Most of the time, nothing happens and everything is fine. If you talk to an attorney and you talk to an HR person, they're always going to err on the side of caution, and their job is just to open you up to the knowledge of what the liabilities are and how to protect yourself, but ultimately it's up to you to always make that decision. As long as you know the decision that you're making and what the potential outcomes and liabilities are, it's up to you to make that decision. But I would certainly have Marsha give you a more human resources type of perspective on that. That's not my forte. Quite frankly, if I was going to be having a party with underage people like that, I would probably pick up the phone and I would call Marsha and book an hour of her time and have her guide me on what I would need to do. That's what I would do for my business today. All right? Hope that helps, Tatiana. I like that question. Okay, the next question comes in, and this is the last question, and it comes in from Stephen Davis. And Stephen says, is it a good idea for businesses to cross-sell other products on Amazon? When we promote a book or product on a newsletter or social media, should we include a link to purchase the book product, ultimately making additional income? The background is my company consults businesses on PEOs, human resources, and workers' compensation. Occasionally, we will recommend a book or product that is useful to our company. If we promote this product, should we become an Amazon seller and promoter and earn a percentage of the sale? You know, Stephen, if you do it a lot, like for Accelerators Organization, I put together a PDF of the top sales books and communication books that I recommend, and it does have links to an Amazon store that I get a commission on. And you know that I use social media a lot, so I'm recommending books all the time. And so in my situation, it made sense. If it's becoming more prevalent that companies do that, and I think it's a personal decision that you have to make as a business owner. As long as we are transparent in the process, so people know that, hey, this is my Amazon link or my company Amazon link, we get paid a percentage of commission. It doesn't change your price. We just get paid a referral commission from Amazon. People don't mind transparency. If it were me, I would think about the time it would take to set up the store, whether or not I think it's something that we're going to make a lot of money from, like something that's going to move the needle. Otherwise, just making the book recommendations or product recommendations are okay, and I wouldn't worry about getting some sort of percentage of commission. It really isn't a big amount of commission that Amazon pays anyways, and unless you're going to be sending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds or thousands of referrals for those books and other products, probably won't make a dent as far as a commission perspective. But it would be a total personal decision. I personally like to do it because I make so many referrals and recommendations, and I'm transparent about it. But it would be a total business decision that you would want to make on behalf of your business. So I'm anxious to hear I'll have some other mentors answer this for you, and they can give you their feedback as well. Okay? I hope that helps. And that was the last question for today. Thanks for tuning in. Jennifer, thanks for being here live. Everybody else for catching this on the replay, and I will see you again on the next mentor session. And I will be getting these questions over to other mentors to have them answer. You're going to get an email with my response letting you know what other mentors are going to answer the question as well. All right? Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace out.